All righty, all righty, all righty. So guys, can you hear me, everybody? Thumbs up. All right, all right, all right. Look at all these wonderful people. How exciting, how exciting. Man, just running around the screen. There's John. I just saw John earlier. There's Brett. How exciting. So guys, I'm excited because I have 10 points I want to talk about for the fourth quarter, really September through December. For those of you that have the great fortune of coaching, we talked about 2 of these points last week. Based on the reaction, people loved it, and we're going to touch on them again a little bit. So I apologize if we're going to make you smarter than everybody else, because we're going to repeat those 2 points. So 10 points to make the greatest 105, 110 days, whatever it is we have to the end of the year. Everybody write this down. Number 1, you have to calendarize the rest of the year. You got to print out a calendar. Now, I know we're all on computers, and I have one of these things. I don't know if you guys have these. These are called phones. And on there, I have this really cool thing. It has my calendar on it. It's really cool. The problem is that I can't write things on it. So I print out a blank September, October, November, December calendar. And me and my wife, and if I had children at home, will go through the calendar. When are the school meetings? When are the kids' vacation days? When are we going to go on Betty's for Thanksgiving? You need to calendarize the next 105 days. If not, what's going to happen is you're going to have constant conflict. I was planning to work, but my family wanted here. I was planning to work, but we have to be here. Calendarize your days. So there's a couple key days. Number 1, by a show of hands, for those of you who are live, how many people call expired, cancel, withdrawals? Then we have to make sure we're working October 1st, October 31st, November 1st, November 30, December 1st, and December 31st and January 1st. We can't miss. So Dean, who's been with us a little while, what do I call the 31st of every month?
Stupid Realtor Day.
Stupid Realtor Day. Realtors are too stupid to know there were 31 days in October, so they had their listing expire on October 30th, so it shows up on the 31st. So let's go to Danny. Danny, what day is Veterans Day?
I do not know.
Well, not a veteran. Anybody else want to guess?
October, I don't know the exact date.
In November.
November 11th.
November 11th. It's a federal holiday. Schools are closed. Banks are closed. Most of the government type offices are closed on November 11th. That means every one of your past clients is home. See, an amateur, I'm taking Veterans Day off. Yep, I'm not a veteran. I'm taking it off to support them. A professional goes, holy caramba. Everybody's home. The kids are home. It's a holiday. The parents are home. To me, it's a great prospecting day. And I'm a veteran. I work it all the time. If you're on my coaching schedule, we have a call. See, we have to be looking at days like this, guys, when we calendarize, because we have to figure out when is it easy to talk to people, and I need to be working then, right, Jeff? So Jeff, in Canada, what's a big holiday in October?
Just the Thanksgiving weekend, Thanksgiving Monday.
We celebrate when you stole your land from the Indians in October. We celebrate we stole our land in November, right?
Correct.
So we should be working around that to make as much money as possible. What is Sohail on some sort of cop? So he's got a chest cam on or something. There we go. Man. We have to look at the calendar and decide when is it easy to make the most amount of money, make the most amount of contacts, and should we be working those days? It's called planning. So Richard, would you tell everybody where you're from so everybody can send you the referrals you deserve?
Thanks, Steve. New Jersey, Jersey Shore.
Jersey Shore. So here's the thing about Richard, and I know this because I'm from the East Coast. When Richard was in elementary school in 2nd grade, they put their hand on a piece of paper and drew little turkeys. Then they cut them out and put them on the refrigerator, right, Richard?
That's right.
Because on the East Coast, Thanksgiving is an entire week. And Danny, where are you from?
Jersey Shore. I'm on Rich's team.
So again, Thanksgiving turkeys, yes? Well, let's go to Aaron. Aaron, where are you from? So people can send you the referrals you deserve. And if you notice how smart he is, he has his location where he is so you could send him referrals. Just a hint next time, guys.
Los Angeles, San Gabriel Valley area.
And in Los Angeles, Thanksgiving is Thursday at 1.
3 o'clock.
Did you, when you went to elementary school, did you draw little pictures of turkeys and pilgrims and all that?
We did.
Is it an entire week or is it one day in Los Angeles?
1 day.
We got to plan accordingly, right, guys? See, in LA, the people I coach in LA, I make them work all day Wednesday because people are doing normal business. In New Jersey, they shut down the Friday prior to Thanksgiving. You got to work your market, yeah? Calendarize. Number 2, you got to write a goal. The usual suspects: listings taken, listings sold, buyer sales, price reductions. And here's one I want you to write down: adding people to your SOI. All of your growth in the future is going to be through your SOI. And I'll come back to that. But we got to add an abundant number of people to our SOI. See, Jake from Las Vegas, we're all calling the same 4 people on the street that pick up for everybody. But if you worked hard for the next 4 months and you brought another 200 people into your SOI from the 16 people that weren't picking up the phone, you would have a black book of business, wouldn't you? And these are all people who know you, will pick up the phone. They're not on the DNC list. Dude, imagine 200 people every fall. That's 800 people in 4 years. The average person moves every 10 years in Vegas. That's 80 people a year, Jake. But you can't buy an SOI. You got to earn it. One at a time. So second thing is to make sure that you have your goal and adding people to your SOI. Number 3. I'm not going to take the whole call on this, although I could spend hours on this. You've got to completely revamp your listing presentation. Mike Sampson, there are 3 parts of a listing presentation now. What are they? Great, Mike Sampson.
From Seattle. They are agree on price, agree on the marketing, and then agree on the co-broke.
So number 1 is price. Number 2 is the marketing fee and marketing. Number 3 is the co-broke. And so if you guys don't think you're dedicated as a coach, last week was my wedding anniversary. There was just a group call for everybody. My clients were wonderful to let me have my wedding anniversary, except Mike Sampson, you texted me, you got a quick minute? And we talked for what, 20 minutes on this, didn't we?
Yes, sir.
And my wonderful wife, who was next to me, who's that? It's Mike Sampson. She went, okay. So if you wonder if we're dedicated to helping you guys move forward, just call me 11 o'clock at night. I'll take the call. Number 1 is price. We have to get really good at getting the seller and you to agree on price. Now, there's lots of components to this. Remember this, proper motivation will always fix price. So if they have to be in Texas by December 31st and they want to price it here and it's only worth here, I'm taking it because I got time on my side. They'll be forced to reduce the price. Proper motivation will always fix price. But in a normal seller, I'd like to sell and I'd like to buy. If I can get this and it's worth here. We've got to get the price right. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, let's you and I look at the market evaluation. Let's discover together the most money a buyer will pay for your home. Is it okay if we sell your house for the most money a buyer will pay for your home? Now, John, doesn't that sound like a lot of money?
How much, Steve?
Because I put a little stank on it. Let's discover together. the most money a buyer will pay for your home. Once you agree on the price, we now know how fast the house will sell. Because now we know what we have as a saleable product. Now our commission may or may not be a little flexible, yeah? Because if they're pricing it here and it's worth here, and it's gonna sell by Sunday, I might have a little room on my commission to get paid by Sunday. But if they want here, and it's gonna take me 6 months to get it sold, not a lot of flexibility. So let's talk about the second part. What is the second part, Mike Sampson? You gotta unmute, Mikey.
Agree on the marketing.
Agree on the marketing. We have to agree on what I'm gonna do as their agent. I'm gonna do open houses. I'll be here for every showing. There won't be a sign. There's gonna be no lockbox. I'll do a drone flyover. I'll fly in on a drone. We have to come in with a marketing presentation that kills nowadays. The one you used 40 days ago, gone. Because of this simple fact, we no longer have a 6% commission or a 6% commission where the seller says, Sydney, 6%? Well, Mr. Seller, I don't get the whole thing. I give half away. Oh, okay. Sydney, your commission's 3%. Dean Clark said he'll charge 2%. My house is $1 million. You want $10,000 more than Dean. The sellers are picking this up, guys. They're able to do the math. Tell me where there's 10,000 value in you, Sydney. Show me 10,000. Well, I'm going to put a professional sign. Yeah, okay. I'm going to install a lockbox. Yeah. Put you in the MLS. Yeah. Okay. So far, Dean's going to do all that. We're going to make sure the paperwork's good. Where's the 10,000, Sydney? You better have cause and effect, guys. You better have a list of stuff where the seller goes, damn. Because you don't have that. What is the reason the seller is going to give you 10,000 more, right, Sydney?
That's right.
See, before we went from 6 and the seller negotiated us down to 5. Well, we could keep 3 and give away 2. We were still good. So even when the seller screwed us over and dropped us down to 5, we could keep 3 and give away 2. But now all we have is 3. And if the seller cuts us down to 2, all we have is 2. We better show the difference between 2 and 3. And it better be saleable. And it better be where they go, damn. Because if you haven't got damn, they're not going to hire you. On a side note, I had this wonderful coaching client we talked this morning. I said, why are you only charging 3%? Why not 3.5, 3.7? The seller has heard since the beginning of caveman times, the commission is 6 or 5, 6 or 5, 6 or 5. Anything less than 4, whew, they're happy. What's your commission? Well, our marketing fee is 3.7. Oh, that's much less than 6. I'll do it. Because what they heard was 3.7, which is much less than 6. So why are we only doing it for 3? Interesting, isn't it? Sydney's your coach. Talk to Sydney. Call me. If you're not in coaching, call us. You should be in coaching, but number next, call us. I'll teach you how to do it, guys. Who's good with analytics? Jeff, you're analytical as hell. Jeff, you ready? What's 3% of $1 million? Jeff Gonzalez. Come on, Jeff. You got to take us off mute.
30,000.
What is 3.6% of $1 million?
36,000.
$6,000 for one little decimal point, huh? I can always take off the 0.6, but I can't add it. Interesting. The third part is we have to get them to maybe or maybe not agree to pay a buyer agency fee. Now, let me be clear. If the price is here and they agreed or listed here, is it super saleable, guys?
Mm-hmm.
And if they've given me my normal 3.30 marketing fee and I'm happy with it, do I really care if they give away a buyer agency fee?
No.
Don't talk about the buyer agency fee until you get a signature on the listing. It's a separate entity now, guys. It's a seller participation fee. Don't fight for the buyer agent who you may or may not like for their money. And then you lose the listing. Get the signature on the listing agreement and then say, Mr. Seller, as of August 17th, you now have the option. You can A, B, or C. May I explain the differences? Depending on the price, I may have to walk away if they aren't willing to participate. But I have the signature, right, guys? Why would you talk yourself out trying to get a commission for somebody you don't like? Because if it's priced here and he's offering 0, it's still going to sell in today's market, yeah?
Yes.
Guys, 3 parts: price, listing commission, then buyer agency fee. And they're all separate. Buyer side, 4 parts of a buyer side. You better have a value proposition on your buyer side. No longer can we be an Uber driver with an MLS lockbox and we're getting paid. Because under today's world, the buyer has to sign, what do they call that? Let's see, I've only sold 4,500 homes. Buyer agency fee. They have to sign a buyer agency agreement. In an ideal world, Corey comes to my office and his wonderful wife and I sit down, and for 45 minutes, I explain the buying process and how we work. And this is why people like you hire me. And Corey and his wonderful wife look at each other and go, this guy's fantastic. Where do I sign? But that's not what happens. Hi, Steve. This is Corey Reels. You were recommended to me by Danny. Yes, I love Danny. He's a great. He said, we need to buy a house from you. We want to see this house tonight at 5. Can you show it to us? Absolutely. And then we walk up to the house and I'm smiling and there's Corey and his beautiful wife. Hi, Corey. Nice to meet you. How are you guys doing? Wonderful. All right. Before I open the lockbox, I need you to sign this piece of paper that says you'll work with me to buy this house and give me 3% of this $800,000 house if the seller won't pay. So I need you to commit to $24,000 right now before I open the door. That's the real world, right, guys? Should we be working on how to do this? We have to first get the buyer agency signed. And sometimes it's on the welcome mat. And you're asking for 3% of an 800 large home, and I don't even know you. That's a tough sale, but it can be done. Number 2, we have to disclose after they sign it, send them copies of their paperwork, every property we show them. Ray Stendhal, we're going to see a house with your beautiful wife, Christina. The first house, the seller is offering 2% of your buyer agency fee. The second house is offering 1.5% of your buyer agency fee. And the third house says it's negotiable, which means 0 unless we can get it. I'm going to disclose before I walk through the threshold what the sellers indicated they might pay. Because the seller said, I'll pay 1%. Ray and Christina offered me 3%. There's a 2% discretion. Ray needs to know that before he walks in that house. Because what if I say, listen to my words, the seller has agreed to pay 1% towards the buyer agency fee. If I just say this seller is paying 1% buyer agency, and I don't mention towards the buyer agency fee, I've agreed to sell it for 1%. Because Ray heard I'm willing to take 1%. So we need to disclose what the seller is willing to pay. Number 3, after the property is under contract, we need to send the discrepancy between the 2% the seller is paying and your 3% on the buyer agency agreement to the loan officer. They need to put it on the proceeds needed to close. We need to send it to the title person, preliminary HUD, needs to show that they need to bring that 1% to the closing. If there's going to be a fight, let's fight early. And number 4, we need to get paid at closing. And for those of you who have heard me say this, I apologize for being redundant, but it is going to be nasty. I'm working with a company in North Carolina. They have 5 closings next week. No money from the buyers. Buyers are saying, I don't have any money to pay the fee. And they will close on the property. Because what's gonna happen is the seller's gonna be at the closing. And the buyer agent's gonna say, well, hold up. They're supposed to pay our company 3%, 12 grand. They only have 4 grand. They're short 8 grand. And the seller's gonna say, well, that sounds like a you problem. Because you will close. You cannot hold up a closing because the buyer can't pay. Well, Steve, I'll just have them sign a promissory note. Oh, and the lender's gonna want to know about this for their ratio, aren't they? Because they're this squeaky tight on an FHA and they just came up with a 3-year debt. The lender's gonna want to know about that. They may not qualify. Well, then I'll sue their ass. Yeah, you're gonna try to go sue a buyer for extra 4,000 that they don't have. You're gonna try to go in front of 12 people who aren't smart enough to get out of jury duty and try to convince them that 8,000 wasn't enough for you to open the lockbox. You need to get another 4. Oh, and the reviews for suing somebody are tremendous. You need to work with us on your value proposition. What are you bringing to the table so they hire you and pay you a full commission? Because if you start accepting 2%, you will transaction yourself right out of real estate. So number 4 is you better work on your value proposition and the 4 steps, or it's going to be a dry next 4 months with your buyers. Number 5, which we talked about a little bit. There is no need to give away our commission on the listing side. Start working on a 3.6, 3.7 listing marketing fee. Right now, it's the golden age. They will just give it to you. Because anything less than 5, they're signing. They'll sign at 4% because they plan to give none to the buyer agent. They're happy as a clam. This has a shelf life. It may last 60 days. It might last a year. But right now, it's a golden period where anything less than 4, 5, or 6, they're happy with. So don't give away your commission. Number 6, order your holiday cards this week. In the sea of red dresses, the green dress stands out. You guys ever heard that? Let's go to wonderful Brett. Brett, what beautiful hair, man. God bless it. Mine's going back like the tide. Yours is growing forward like seaweed. Good for you. So Brett, last Christmas, how many Christmas cards did you get delivered to your beautiful house on the golf course?
6, maybe.
Because you have a large family of 7 brothers and sisters total, yeah?
Yeah.
Those are what people send it to you. And your mortgage officer, who happens to be your sister. Right? Let's
Right.
go to John. John, how many Christmas cards you get last year?
Hand delivered?
Mailed to your house.
Oh, a handful, tops.
Guys, it's an opportunity to stand out. So here's who gets a Christmas card. Anybody who bought or sold a home from you has to get a Christmas card this year or a holiday greetings card. And I mean that to be all inclusive. I don't just mean Christmas, okay? Holiday greetings card. Let's go to Dean because he's the smartest guy in here. Dean, how many buyers bought a listing of yours this year that you'd love to have that listing back?
At least 20.
These are adopted buyers, right?
Yes.
Now, if Richard sold one of your listings, you're not going to send it to his buyer, but if Sydney did, shit, you're selling it in a minute. Dear Stephen Bernadette, congratulations on your first holiday season in your new home. Have a wonderful holiday and a great 2025. Dean Clark, eXp Realty. I send them out 2 days prior to Thanksgiving, the Tuesday prior to Thanksgiving. Most of them arrive Wednesday prior to Thanksgiving, Dean. And here's what happens. They get their wonderful Christmas card. This represents a Christmas card. Hey, honey, we got a Christmas card. Oh, yeah? Yeah. Oh, it's our first one. Our first one in our new home. Who's it from? Oh, it's from the realtor. I love Richard. It's not Richard. It's Dean, the guy that had the listing. Well, I'm sure our agent will send a card sometime. And mine's a high quality card. See, there's pretty cards. Hey, Friday, we got to go to Bed Bath & Beyond and get a Christmas card basket. My card is getting all the attention. So Danny, you're not gonna like this, but my neighbor in Virginia was from New Jersey and she was a driver. It's a redundant title, okay? We're playing flag football in the street because that's what you do. You play football in the street, touch football, so you can push somebody down and they skid up on the asphalt. And she comes out, Steve, how's it going, Caroline? I got your Christmas card. Oh, I appreciate that. You got it already? Why'd you send it so early? You got it already? It was supposed to go out till Friday. You know, I put it on the mantle. We can't have it on the mantle. We're watching the game today. So I put it on my refrigerator. But everybody's getting food for Thanksgiving. It's not even Christmas. I have it on my dresser. Don't send it out so early next year. Whose Christmas card is getting the most attention? Guys, this is an opportunity to stand out with personal attention, isn't it? So Jake, do you have anybody that indicated they're going to sell a house next year?
Yeah.
Do you think you're the only one that knows they're going to be selling a house next year?
Not the only one.
Now, if I knew somebody you knew was going to sell a house next year, I'd be rubbing their feet and calling them thin and beautiful. I'd be making them feel special. And they would get a holiday greetings card from me, Jake, and guess who wouldn't send them one? And I've moved up the ladder, haven't I?
Yeah. It's good.
Anybody bought or sold a house from you should get one. Anybody who tells you they're going to move next year should get one. You got to be courting these people, guys. Courting. Okay. How about this? Jake, did anybody in your database give you a referral this year?
Yes.
Should they get a Christmas or a holiday
Absolutely.
greetings card?
Both. Yeah.
Well, life goes on. A wonderful hawk just nabbed a squirrel off my tree. That's why my attention was diverted. Oh, look, a squirrel. No more.
That's awesome.
Circle of life going on right out here. Dear Jim, thank you for your kind referral of Mike Sampson. Because of you, the Sampsons are enjoying their first holiday season in their new home. You are the best. Now that's a referral Christmas card, isn't it? If Jake will give me one, he'll give me two if I make him feel pretty. Now, Jake, again, you look like you're really smart, yeah?
Relatively.
When's Christmas this year?
The 25th.
Could you write the card tomorrow and mail it the 2 days prior to Thanksgiving?
Yeah.
Because if you're an amateur, and Jake, I know you're not, you'll start writing the card on Tuesday prior to Thanksgiving, and you've got 160 to do, and your hand will get all cramped up. And by the 15th card, you will write, Dear Steve, thank you for your kind referral of Dean and Clark. Because of you, they're enjoying their first holiday season. What you write is, Steve, Dean, thanks, because you're tired. Get your cards, start filling out the ones you know are going to get it, hold them off. That way you're not rushing at the end. The most important people in your life. This is an opportunity to stand out. Yes? Number next. Plan your Thanksgiving and your Christmas. So Celine, hi Celine, I didn't call you back and I apologize. You texted me on Sunday, correct?
Yes, but I spoke to Gordon instead.
See, here's the cool part about Watson Powers coaching. Celine couldn't reach me, so you called who?
Gordon?
And Celine, did Gordon answer your question?
Yes.
So I want an honest answer here. Are you ready, Celine?
Sure.
Sydney, Steve, or Gordon? Which one of us is your coach?
I'm not in coaching right now.
Stop right there. Do you guys see the value we bring to the table? I like her a lot. We don't even coach her. We're taking calls on Sundays. You need a better coach. You got to be with us. Okay? And thank Gordon for doing that.
Yeah, no, I will.
No, I meant that. I mean, just euphorically thank Gordon for doing that because this is the commitment we bring, guys. Okay? So, you got to plan your Christmas. Christmas is the 25th. Anybody know what day of the week it is?
Tuesday.
It's a Tuesday. So if you my suggestion, you work right up to about 3 or 4 or 5 on Friday. Then you take Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday off, go back to work on Thursday.
It's actually Wednesday.
See, when Christmas is on a weekend, on a Saturday, it's a pain in the ass. But it's relatively simple this year. Because people will do real estate up to Friday on Christmas this year. But they won't do it the week after. Now, if you're in Florida, you got to work Monday and Wednesday, because people in Florida buy and sell over Christmas week. Because they snowbirds come down to our beloved Florida. We see all the big 45-foot RVs. They all come down the last week of December, and they're there to buy and sell their house. Plan your Thanksgiving with your family. Plan your Christmas with your family. Instead of just arbitrarily deciding whether to take a day off or not. Plan. Number next. Oh, one of my favorite things. Upgrade everything. For most of us, it's a spring, summer market. So let's use the fall and early winter to upgrade everything. If you don't like your CRM, this quarter is the time to test other ones and negotiate. If you want to upgrade your car, now's the time if you can afford it. I don't want you to spend extra money and blow money, but now's the time to upgrade everything. In my office, I have a rug here. I get a new rug every 8 months. Anybody know why I get a new rug every 8 months?
Because you can.
Because I have
You
coffee
stand a lot.
and I spill it. I walk on it. I walk in the same 5 square feet all day long. I've been here since 8:30. I'll be here till 6:30. In my real estate office, I wore out a carpet. Every Christmas, we would hire a company, took everything out of my office. They would replace all the carpet, paint all the walls, replace the light bulbs, the dead bugs in the stuff, wash the windows, wash the blinds. Then when they would bring all my furniture back in, they would scrub every square inch. So when I came back to work after Christmas, new office smell. It's a new year, it's a new smell. I'm not walking on the same carpet I've been walking on for the last year with the coffee and the food and everything else. I dribble on it like we all do. You got your scripts on the wall. They're tainted, they're torn, they've yellowed. Replace them. This is a time to upgrade everything, guys. You can't see it, but I got a brand new camera there. I got a camera here, and I got a camera over there. And I got lights up here, and I don't like any of it. And I'm buying all new shit. Replacing with the 2024 cameras and lights. These make me look red, that's why they're off. These are the tools we use to make money. Why are we prospecting with a copier box and putting our laptop on top of it? Show you this. See if I can get this on here. No, it's not on there. But I'll show you this. This is my prospecting or coaching station. Oh, that worked out well. Oh, bitch. Station. Can you guys see this? Nope. I got two things. I got lights. There's a big 55-inch TV. I got podcast area. This is where I work. This is where I make millions of dollars. This is not an area that I set up in the corner and I do it like this on top of a laptop, on top of a cardboard box. Coach a wonderful age in Arizona, designing his home office. And he sent it to me, and it had this big ass desk. And I said to him, "What are you, a banker? What's the desk for?" He goes, "Well, what do you mean? You're going to sit behind the desk like people are going to come into your home office?" "Where do you prospect?" "Over here." He had a little corner for prospecting. I'm like, dude, the whole room has to be about prospecting. Have a space where you can work on your CMAs, but the rest of it has to be designed for prospecting and making appointments. Guys, I'm not going to do the camera thing because I suck at it, as you can see. This is a piece of granite right here. My wife and I went to pick it out because I'm colorblind. I can't see colors at all. And so I'm walking through and I see this beautiful piece of granite. looks like my beautiful lake. And my wife was talking to the salesperson about how much it costs per square foot. I went, hey guys, come here, I got my piece of granite. I want that piece, and I want this thing right here, right where I'm working. It's this beautiful line. And the woman goes, well, that's kind of more expensive. Well, how much is it? Well, that's 5 times as much as this. I said, we'll take it. My wife's like, Sparky, we're gonna drop $8,000 on this little piece of granite? I'm like, honey, I'm gonna touch this piece of granite every day for 8 hours a day. I'm gonna make tens of millions of dollars on this piece of granite. Why would I want to be touching something that's a bargain? Upgrade everything. Unfortunately, technology is cheap. Number 9, get rid of your dead SOI. We all have names in the computer, except for Louise. She's smarter than everyone else. Louise has no dead SOI, but the rest of us have a bunch of names. We go, what the heck is that? Anybody besides me have those names? Or we look at them on the computer when they come up, we go, ugh. Time to get rid of those people. It's time to increase our SOI and decrease our SOI. Always get rid of them in the 4th quarter. Does that make sense, Louise? So, Louise, we're going to do a little role play. Are you up for it? I can read lips, and I think you said shut the hell up or yes. One of those two. Which one did you say?
I said shut the hell up. No, really. Go ahead.
So, Louise, you're a dead SOI. Be slightly negative, and the answer, like we're married, is always no. Just pretend we're married. Just say no to me about everything, okay?
No.
Not yet, Louise. We're not that married.
What's up?
Well, I walk in the room, my wife goes, no, you got this down. Ring, ring, ring.
Go ahead, say that again.
It's gonna be a normal call, but don't give me anything.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Ring, ring, ring.
Hello.
Hi, Louise. It's your realtor friend, Steve Powers, eXp Real Estate. How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
You know what, Louise? Having a wonderful day. Thank you so much for asking. Louise, the reason I'm calling is, as you know, it's September. It's a time when people plan to either buy or sell real estate. How can I help you with your real estate needs either next year or this fall?
I don't think I need any help.
You don't think you do? So when do you plan on moving?
I have no plans to move.
Well, you know, we've been talking about 3 or 4 years. It's obvious you're in your house. So let me ask you, what about your neighbors? Who up and down the street is having a baby, being relocated? Which one of your neighbors needs my help in the next 12 months?
I don't talk to my neighbors.
You know, that's normal. Nobody does. What about your family? Mothers, brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles? Who in your family is getting married, having a baby? Who in your family can I help this year?
Nobody. No, everybody's married, had their babies. I'm really not looking to.
Well, of course you're not. You're not in the business. I am. So let me ask you, you still the manager at Acme Tire Warehouse?
Excuse me, say that again?
You still the manager of Acme Tire Warehouse?
No, I've retired.
My gosh, that's wonderful. So who do you know from where you used to work that wants my help in real estate for the next year?
I don't talk to any of the former people I used to work with.
You know, I don't blame you. Louise,
Yeah.
is there anything else you need from your realtor and friend, Steve Powers, at this time?
I can't think of a single thing.
Well, Louise, you've been wonderful. You have a wonderful end of this year. If you need anything, you give me a call. Fair enough?
Oh, I definitely will.
Have a great day.
Okay,
All
thank
right,
you.
CRM, let's take her off phone calls. We'll keep her on the emails because, as my friend Kathy Anderson says, emails are free. And if they're free, they're for me. So I'm not going to delete her from my emails. Did you guys get that hint? Let's take her off the postcards because I'm not going to spend another $1.19 a month on her. And I'm never going to call her again because I've called her for 4 years. She's given me 0 referrals and she's given me no indication she's moving. I don't care if she's a nice person. I went to work to make money. Louise isn't helping me make money. She's a dead SOI. Bye-bye, Louise. Now, I didn't say to her, I'm never calling you again. I just said to her, if you need anything, give me a call. Have a wonderful fall. I didn't say I wasn't gonna call again, although I'm not.
Yeah, but you never burn a bridge.
I burn bridges like crazy because you are useless to me. I have called you 4 times a year for 4 years. I got 16 calls. I've spent probably $40 on mailing. I've texted you. You've given me nothing. It's time to move on, Louise. If not, I'll have 1,000 Louises and no space for another 200 people. We must constantly increase our sphere, then decrease it. But the reason why most of you won't get rid of a dead Louise is because you're not adding new people. And if you're not adding new people, you'll keep the crap in there that nobody's giving you stuff, and then you won't call any of them. But if you're constantly bringing in new people and you're getting rid of dead weight, the turnover is happening. So let me go to Aaron. So the crowd can know. You married, Aaron?
I am.
Good. Now they know you're a family man. They will give you more referrals. I just made that up, but it sounds good. So Aaron, you and your wife discover a new restaurant. You love it. Because you loved it and had such a great experience, aren't you going to go back within a couple weeks to have it again?
Yes.
And then you'll tell your friends about this new restaurant, and you'll bring your friends to the new restaurant. And that restaurant got 3 tables served in a month. And then you and your wife will put that restaurant in your normal rotation. But one of your normal rotation has to go out because you can't have that many normal restaurants. And then 4 years from now, you and your wife are driving down the street. Hey, honey, when's the last time we went to Howard and Park restaurant? I don't know. Check the reviews. They're okay. Whatever. That's what our sphere is, guys. If they're not going to give you something in the first 2 years, and they're not moving, they're not going to give you anything ever. Get them out. Rub their feet for 2 years. Make them feel thin and beautiful. But in 2 years of you calling, rubbing their feet, they're not giving you snot, and they don't want to move next year. Ba-da-ba, ba-da-ba, ba-da-ba. For every 10 sphere we put in, 3 give us business. 7 don't. But to get to 3, I got to work 10. I got to get rid of the 7 to bring a new 10 in to get 3. Get rid of 7, bring a new 10 in to get 3, get rid of the 7. And finally, number 10, which I don't want you to work on now because you'll start to dream and not work. You need to plan your 2025 goal. But if you start working on it in September and October, you're an idiot. Because you'll start thinking, I don't need to work now because look how good I'm going to do in 25. Because that's what people do. Because Sohail, people are going to, what is the biggest New Year's resolution everybody makes for January 1st? You got us muted, Sohail. Hi, Sohail. Now he cut us off. Huh. He's as good at this camera stuff as I am. Sohail, take us off mute. There we go. What are you in outer space? God. Okay, we're going to forget Sohail. Let's go to Christina because she's nicer than her husband, Sohail. Christina, what is the biggest resolution people make on January 1st?
They're gonna lose weight.
Because I'm going to lose weight on January 1st, I'm going to eat like a pig in December.
Let's do it.
See what happens, guys? Because I have this great goal for how much business I'm going to do in 2025, I'm going to stop working now in 24. It doesn't take 2 months to do a plan for 2025. Sydney, if you were my coach and you coached me for 2 years, honestly, how long does it take for you and I to come up with a killer plan for 2025?
Less than an hour.
I calendarize 25 with my wife. I look at the vacations we're going to take. I plan when I'm going to work. That's the longest time for me. I said to my wife one year, I finished my goal for this year. She goes, what's the plan? I'm going to earn $2 million. She goes, do you have a plan? No. Well, how the heck are you going to earn $2 million? I said, I don't know yet. but I don't care what street corner I have to work at 2 a.m. on a Saturday, I'm gonna find a way to earn $2 million. And because I set the goal at 2 million, I then came up with a plan to earn 2 million. And I have a calendar which tells me when I can work to earn 2 million. It's just planning, guys. So number one, it's good. You need to calendarize the rest of this quarter. Number two, you need to come up with your goals. Listing taken, listing go sold, the normal suspects. Number three, you better work on your value proposition for a listing appointment. You better have some hard stuff to show the money, because the seller is going to be able to mathematically do the cost difference now. And same thing on number four, we got to have a value proposition for the buyers. There's 4 things we need. We better know how to do all 4, or we're going to be at the closing with no money or a reduced commission. Number 5, work hard on getting a 3-point something commission right now. They'll give it to you, put it in. Number 6, order your holiday greetings cards. Be prepared to send them out the Tuesday prior to Thanksgiving. Be first on their mantle. Because let me tell you what happens. On the 22nd, my son comes in, hey, Dad, we got some cards. Yeah? Any money? No. Throw them in the basket. I still look for Christmas card money. Nobody ever sends it to me anymore. But my wife, the 26th of December, says, hey, here's the Christmas cards. I go through to see if there's somebody I need to thank. And it's like, well, here they are. I'd like to say we have hundreds, but we get like 20. I'm not that popular. And we go through. Nope, 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 nope. I toss them. The first card gets all the attention. The other 19 cards get tossed. Number next, plan your Thanksgiving and your Christmas holiday. Make sure your family knows what's going on. When you're working, when you're not working. Number 8, upgrade everything. If you're going to change your phone plan, you're going to change cameras, you're going to change laptops, you're going to change your CRM. Fourth quarter is generally the best time to do it. It costs us the least amount of money. Number 9, get rid of your dead SOI. Call them all. Ask them if they plan to move in the next 1 to 2 years. If the answer is yes, they're not dead SOI. If they're not moving and they're like Louise, I don't got any friends, I don't talk to the neighbors, my family hates me and I'm retired. She walks around with a red cup picking up pine needles, bitching about the dogs not using plastic bags. This is not a person I want to talk to very much. And of course, number 10, work on your 2025 goals, but don't make it an all-inclusive activity. It's not that complicated. You're just filling space. Questions, concerns, issues on these 10? Yes, Ray.
I got a question. So on the positioning of the 3.6 or 3.7% listing side of the commission, if you're offering packages, let's say it's small, medium.
Hey, you're the only one offering packages. You'll have to talk to me about this separate, because everyone's going to go, what's a gold, silver, platinum package? What's a titanium package? What is he talking about? Ray, you're going to confuse everybody. If I was offering packages, it would be 3.6, 2.6, whatever.
I was just going to say, you're going to put it on the high end or the middle. That was what I was going to ask.
Well, whatever you choose, we'll talk about that individually, because you'll confuse this whole crowd with, you have a wonderful package system. And it's a bit analytical, and most of them are not going to follow your 20-minute explanation on it. Okay? But we'll talk about that individually. But right now, again, to be clear, the sellers are hearing 5 and 6. Now, anything less than 4, they're agreeing to. So why would he give up a point? Yeah? Questions? Yes, please, Mike.
So we counsel our buyers, we get the buyer brokerage agreement signed, we let them know before every showing, texting them, the seller is contributing 1% towards the buyer brokerage fee. We do that for every house. We get them under contract. It's short 1%. Buyer has to pay that. Would you suggest, after we've let them know multiple times, this is the scenario, the new game, letting the lender put that in their disclosures and them broaching it?
Yeah, I believe I mentioned this, and maybe I didn't. I said after the property is under contract and we get through the home inspection.
Mm-hmm.
Then I said to the lender, please put this on the proceeds needed for closing, because they'll list it in there. Here's your closing cost, here's your fees, and your 1% buyer agency fee, because it is a fee.
Yep.
And also send it to the RESPA. Send it to the title, so they'll put it on there. I'm not making it so obvious to the buyer, but I'm not hiding it later when they complain they didn't know. Shit. I let you know that it was 3%. I sent you a copy of our agreement. I indicated that the seller will pay 1.5% towards the buyer agency fee, indicating there was a less amount than you needed. So I disclose, but I don't place it on their doorstep, but I don't hide it. And then the lender will fight with them on it, yeah?
Yes.
And they're
Yeah.
gonna fight you guys. I'm telling you right now. Steve, I just got this thing from the lender. We owe you $6,000. Well, you don't owe me, you owe the company. But the seller I thought was paying it. No, I texted you on the street that the seller is paying 2%. We wrote in the contract that the seller will participate 2% of the buyer agency fee. We didn't say the seller is paying a 2% buyer agency fee. You knew this. I'm gonna have to work it out. It's going to be an interesting transaction with the buyer, which brings an interesting point. If you're working with an FHA buyer who has saved for 3 years to buy a $400,000 house and they got their $12,000 down and they got their $3,800 in closing costs, and your fee is 3% on 400, where are they coming up with the other 12, guys? If you take them out and say, well, I'll try to get the seller to pay it, and the seller doesn't, ethically, you still have to sell them the house because your buyer agency agreement said to work in the buyer's best interest at all times. So if you're willing to show them houses where the seller's not paying your full fee and you know they don't have the money, it can be argued you agreed to work for no money. And you will lose every time. Because the courts don't like realtors, but they love buyers, don't they? So if you got a buyer who doesn't have your fee, there are a couple ways to get paid. Number one, you do a promissory note. Number two, you could sue them, and both of those aren't great. But see, like Sydney, who lives in beautiful Arkansas, she can get the buyer's parents to give them a gift note. And the gift letter says, if in fact the buyer agency fee isn't covered, the parents agree to gift the difference between what the seller will pay and the buyer agency fee up to 3%. So I can get a gift letter from mom and dad, can't I? There are grants out there for VAs and FHAs. There are grants where you can apply to get the buyer agency fee paid. You guys know that? It's a new world, guys. You see why we're on top of this? You're taking a buyer out and they don't have the money to pay you. This isn't like August 16th where the seller was paying a 2 and you're guaranteed that. You don't have a way to get paid and the seller's paying nothing. You ain't getting paid. And I guarantee you're going to do the transaction. Anybody here an attorney or pretend to be? So an attorney takes on a client that turns out to be destitute. Are they allowed to drop the client in a criminal case?
Mm-hmm.
Louise, who can let the attorney not be the attorney for the client? You got to unmute, Louise.
Yeah, the client can fire the attorney, but the attorney can't fire the client.
And how's the only way an attorney gets released?
The court will release and then appoint someone else.
If he can convincingly a judge to be released, and the chance is almost zero, because if you go in front of a judge and go, Louise hired me, I thought she had money, I found out she doesn't have any money. Okay, I want to not work for free, but you agreed to work for her. So
Yeah.
you're not released.
No. No.
Guys, the states that we work in consider us to be professional and ethical. Our board of realtors consider us to be professional and ethical. Once we sign that buyer agent agreement, we can't fire them easily for non-payment. They can fire us for non-performance, but be clear, it's a new world out there and I love it because so many of our competitors are going to be working for free for the next 90 days. They just don't know it yet. We got a couple minutes left. What other questions do we have? Go ahead, Brett.
Whenever you're talking about getting the listing agreement signed, you said don't talk about the buyer agency commission until after you get that signed. So when you're discussing that, would you go back in and modify the contract, or what would you say that would look like now with the change of law?
Well, our recommendation is if the price is supposed to be here and the seller's here, we gotta sell the listing. So let's get it signed up and then talk about the buyer agency fee. Because if the seller says, no, I'm not paying anything, and you start to fight him on that, and he goes, never mind, you already got a signature, yes? See, I want to own the listing and then try to make it more sellable with a buyer agency participation. What I don't want to do is muddle up the buyer agency participation with getting hired. Because Brett, you're one of the nicest people on the planet. You really are. I like you a lot, okay? I'm not as nice as you.
Oh, I know.
Your dad's really nice. I'm not as nice as your dad. Okay? We balance each other.
Yeah.
I'm not quite as tall as your dad. I'm not as nice as your dad. Because I run businesses and it runs on dollars, not people. Your dad runs on people and he's really nice. When you're at a listing appointment, the seller doesn't care about the buyer agents and their feeling. So when you start to say, well, Mr. Seller, it's probably fair if we offer something and the seller doesn't want to give anything, give me my paperwork back. Mr. Seller, as of August 17th, you have 3 options. May I tell you what they are? You can pay all, you can pay some, you can pay none. May I tell you the plus and minuses of each one? And of course, I got it priced here, so I don't care which one they choose. And when he says, I'm not paying any, good choice. Let me go to work. But if he says, well, tell me about some. Well, here's why you want to pay some, and here's what, let me show you this. All of a sudden, well, Brett, let me think about it, and we'll call you tomorrow, and you don't have a signature. You talked yourself out of a listing, didn't you?
Yep.
Never talk past the sale. If they agree to hire you at 3.6, 3%, whatever you choose, and they've given you a price you're happy with, let's get the signature and then see if we can make it more sellable with the buyer agency fee. And if the seller says, I ain't paying squat, good choice, Mr. Seller. I work for you. I'm out of here. Where's the extra key? And I still got the listing, right, Brett?
Yep.
Let me tell you, you're going to have a lot of your competition combine price, listing, and buyer agency fee and not get a signature because the seller doesn't like one of the 3. Yes, Ray.
Quick question. On my contract, the listing commission is 1 centimeter away from another commission, which is if I bring the unrepresented buyer. How would you present that since the 2 numbers are right next to each other on that contract?
Ray, it's a subset. In the listing agreements, I would recommend you have dual agency transaction. If you bring the buyer, you want to put that in there. Our fee is 3.6%. And Mr. Seller, if we bring in the buyer, the fee for the whole thing will be this. And I just move forward because that's different than the buyer agency fee. And every state's a little different. But you got to put in your listing agreement what you're going to get paid to double end it, or you're going to get 0.
Sure.
And let me tell you, Brett, when a seller says, I ain't paying anybody, and if you bring the buyer, I'm not paying you either. That's fine with me. It's priced here. I'm going to sell it. I'm just never going to bring the buyer. Every buyer call I get on it, I'm going to give it to Ray Stendel, and I'm asking for a referral fee. Hey, Ray, I've got a listing. The buyer wants to buy it. My schedule's slammed. They're ready to go. They're a cash buyer. Could you show them the house? I'll take 35%. Okay.
So
Didn't want to pay me anything. I'm getting 35% of whatever Ray gets.
just to make sure I got the distinction here, one option is, as I say, 3.6%, go through the rest of the contract, sign everything. Oh, I forgot. If I bring the buyer.
No. Put it in there, Ray.
Right
And
from the
if I bring
beginning.
the buyer, it's this. Put that in. You want to double end it.
No, I'm going to do that, but I was asking in terms of getting their agreement and signature to the whole thing. You can
No,
either.
your agreement should have you plus if you bring the buyer in the contract. And the buyer agency is a separate nut. Does that make sense? So guys, as you can see, these are complicated but doable issues. And there's always cash and chaos. Our competition isn't working on this at all. That's why this wonderful company in North Carolina called me and said, we saw your Zoom a month ago. We have 5 closings. What do we do? They sent me all the paperwork. I went, well, it looks like you're working for free. Because had you been coached by us a month ago, you would have had $80,000 in. because their buyer agents didn't rectify getting paid. So they're all working for free. We're not going to do that, right, guys? I'm Steve Powers, Watson Powers. You can see we're here. We have a summit at the end of September. If you can't make it in person, go to our watsonpowers.com, go to events, sign up for the $1.99. If you like this, you're going to love that. This is 2 full days of this kind of material, and it's bang, bang, bang. It's not an hour and a half yapping about one topic. 5, 10, 15 minutes. If you can't make it in person, at least join us live stream. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day.